This is incredibly common. Of the people who are misdiagnosed as having Lyme disease, or who had Lyme disease at one time but then got sick again, over 90% are going to be mold patients. So look for the abnormalities. Looking for fungal DNA with ERMI testing is relatively inexpensive. It's incredibly accurate. It's easy to do. You don't need to hire somebody to help you.
And how do we make a doctor do that if that is not in the guidelines?
You don't need a doctor. Mycometrics.com, MycoMetrics, is an outfit I rely on. I don't have any financial relationship to them. There's no conflict of interest. But if I want to know, is the place possibly moldy, I'm going to have the patient or his friend collect a specimen, a cassette of dust from an area 3 feet by 6 feet that they vacuum for 5 minutes in location 1, and then another area 3 feet by 6 feet in location 2. Send the 2 cassettes off to Mycometrics, include a check for about $300. It's not nothing. But you'll get $30,000 worth of information that will give you a good idea. If you've got amplification based on water saturation, we can tell from ERMI whether your place is safe or not. Then if you have a low level of a regulatory neuropeptide called MSH, I can tell you, are you going to get sick with exposure to this environment or not?
We don't have patios here, we don't have open windows, everything is enclosed. Maybe this is a phenomenon created maybe from the human in this environment.
There's an expression to keep in mind, and that is the solution to pollution is dilution. Now, I don't smoke cigarettes, but there are people that do, and if you look at them smoking indoors, you'll see a puff of smoke, but you can see some smoke later on, you can smell it later on. If you put them out on the patio, and they smoke the same cigarette, the same amount of time later, you won't see the tobacco smoke or smell it. So there's a dilutional factor, and the compounds that make people sick are in the air and they stay in the air. If you blow out the air, if you clean the air, which is what we do with HEPA filtration, you remove the things that cause the illness. The issue is that if you have an inflammatory illness that lowers MSH, as so often happens with Lyme, your ability to deal with subsequent bouts of inflammatory illness is compromised, independent of your genetic makeup. So that if you have a Lyme illness, functionally, some of the innate immune barriers you might normally have are removed. So that your susceptibility to something else, say ciguatera, meaning fish, or for water damaged buildings, is markedly reduced. So don't assume that once Lyme, always Lyme.
Of course.
What you do need to look at is what is the physiology.
So which will be your advice for other doctors here in Florida?
Think, read, collect a database.
And to the patients?
Think, read, demand a database.